In today's episode, we are taking you on a fabulous day trip from Adelaide through the Barossa Valley wine region on a hop-on, hop-off bus tour with Trailhopper, which is such a great way to visit a wine region as you have so much flexibility and you don't have to drive. First, we stopped at Bethany Wines, which was a bit emotional, especially for Lyle, and we tell you why early on in the podcast. Next was the stunning Lambert Estate for a long and very enjoyable lunch with spectacular views. Then we went on to a favourite, Saltram and Pepperjack Wines, where we tasted some of the famous reds in the pretty gardens. And lastly, Keisler Winery, where we met the gorgeous winery dog Lucy and had a wine with a very unusual name. Now, if you're thinking about doing the Barossa for a day or even staying overnight, this episode will give you some great ideas on where to go and what to expect and how to make the most of it. If you would like to see all the photos that we took on our Barossa Valley visit, then click on the link in the podcast description on the player you are listening on now. So please enjoy episode 145 of the Beach Travel Wine Podcast. So, Lyle, we are back talking about one of your favourite subjects in the whole world, wine regions, and mine too.
Yes, yeah.
Today we're going to probably one of Australia's, as I said in the intro, most famous wine regions, the Barossa Valley in South Australia, which is about an hour from Adelaide, yeah?
Yeah, the Barossa Valley is world-renowned premier wine region featuring over 150 wineries and 80-plus cellar doors. Known for its bold Shiraz, Grenache and Mataro varieties, it offers exceptional culinary experiences.
It does. This is part of our trip that we had to Adelaide, and we did a day trip to the Barossa, didn't we?
Yeah.
And, well, for me, I've only been a couple of times. You've been many, many times, haven't you?
I've probably done Barossa Valley probably about 20 times, and mainly due to
a friend of yours.
Yeah, a very close friend of mine, Alan McEwen, who unfortunately is not with us this year. Yeah, I've always loved Barossa, and I was probably lucky enough that was my introduction to probably appreciating wine.
Also, it's probably one of the most well-known wine regions, not only just to Australians, but around the world. A lot of people have heard of Barossa Valley because, as you were saying, the food and as well, and Shiraz, yeah?
Yeah, the region boasts stunning landscapes with rolling vineyards, historic heritage and luxury accommodation, making it an ideal destination for food and wine.
Now, we went on the wine hopper bus, and we've talked about that quite extensively in episode 124, but a quick summary. I'm going to put a link to that in the show notes. This is episode 145, because you can actually just go on and have a look through this link at the wine hopper bus. So it goes to different wine regions. The one to Barossa, they give you a list of probably 20 different wineries that you can go to in the day. It's a pretty reasonable price, and they have a timetable where they pick you up. So it's a great way to see the wine regions if A, you don't have a car, and B, you don't want to be stuck to the schedule of an actual wine tour, and you can be a little bit more flexible. So that's the benefits of the wine hopper, I think.
Yeah, I thought it was fabulous. I was really, really impressed.
We'd do that again, wouldn't we?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. And look, it's only about an hour's drive from Adelaide Central. So, and there's a central pickup. And, yeah, I just thought it was really good. Now, maybe a little bit of history.
Sure.
The Barossa Valley derives its name from the Barossa Range, which was named by Colonel William Light in 1837. And William Blight's, he's the main surveyor of Adelaide. If you ever get the chance to go to Adelaide, he did an amazing job. The area is approximately 13 by 14 square kilometres. The three major towns of the Barossa have distinctive characteristics. Tanunda is generally recognised as the most German of the three, with traditions dating back to the 1840s, when the first German settlers arrived in the area. Since many of the German settlers came from Prussia and Silesia, they called Barossa New Silesia. Angaston, in contrast, is considered an English town, as it was settled predominantly by Cornish miners and others from Britain. The third and largest town, Narupna, was influenced by both German and English settlers, and today is the commercial hub of the Barossa.
Although I think Tanunda is probably the most popular little spot to visit. It's where the wine hopper first takes you. It's got that German influence, and there's lots of accommodation around that area.
I think also because it's the first town you actually drive through when you hit Barossa.
Yeah, okay.
There's only about 5,000 people population.
Yeah. It's a cute little town, though.
Oh,
They've got a nice little tourist office with lots of information about the wineries as well.
Yeah, I've just got it here. Our first stop was the bustling main street of Tanunda, offering boutique shopping, inviting cafe, restaurants, wine bars, museum and galleries, and the award-winning Visitors Information Centre. The town's architecture features 19th century bluestone cottages and historic thick-walled gable-roofed buildings. The townscape combines traditional rustic stone homes with landmark grandeur structures, such as the Bavarian-style Chateau Tanunda 1890, which showcases rumble masonry and limestone dressing. I actually think the architecture in Barossa, in those towns, is one of the most outstanding parts of Barossa. And the bluestone was locally mined, and it's all quite low set, and it just I love it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful spot to go and stay for sure. And I'd like to do that one day, like have an overnight at some of these glamorous or very special accommodation places, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So, yeah, we stopped at Tanunda and the little township, but then we were off to wineries. And on the trail hopper, you get to, as I said, choose which order you want to do your wine tastings in. So the first one, which was a little bit special, has a memory to it, and the reason we went there, because I've been there before as well with you, but we went to Bethany Wines, and it's a family-owned vineyard, and sits sort of up the top of a hill full of this blue stone. And we went there because that was the first winery you'd ever went with your good friend Alan, who passed away, and it was a bit of a memory for us to go there. And it is beautiful as well.
It's one of the higher set wineries, so you get the view back over the vineyards, and it's very, very typical Australian landscape.
Yeah, it is the Australian bush, that's for sure.
Now that was established. The actual winery was established in 1981. However, they had been cultivating that site since 1852.
So with the quarry, the bluestone quarry. So when we say bluestone, it's these great big, they look big boulders, aren't they? Big rocks, and they're a grey with a blue sort of hint through them. It's a really unusual colour. I've got some beautiful photos of this winery and the views and the stones. So have a look. As I said, episode 145. So that does give it a really nice, just the views, and it's just stunning, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think it was lucky that we sort of did that one first, because you just got that, as you say, the beautiful view. Now, we did actually the Blue Quarry tasting range, which was about $15 per person, and it was a selection of about 5 wines, mainly reds, because they focus on again, the Old Vine Shiraz and the Grenache.
Now, what most of these wineries, they do charge you now for tastings, which I think is reasonable, because you get a decent amount. You don't have to drink it all. I learnt that sort of early on, didn't I? Like, I used to try to drink it all. Now I just tip it out. I used to didn't want to offend people, as I've said, I think, in another podcast, but you just can't be drinking that many wines for me that time of day. And the thing about, if you do buy any wine from them, you don't pay for the generally the tasting.
That's correct. Yeah.
So it's a bit of a incentive to buy some wine. So yeah, it was nice. And there was another couple there, and they were visiting from overseas. And someone had told them to go to the Barossa, and they were very happy that they did. So it was a lovely day. And you can get food there, but it was a bit early in the day for us to be getting food, like cheap, because there's so much food around. You just got to. Like the wine, you got to pace yourself, don't you?
Yeah.
But we did a little cheers to your mate Alan, and it brought back some nice memories for you, didn't it? Yeah. So then you just wait for the bus to come and pick you up again and take you to your next stop, which in our case was Lambert Estate. Now, I think I picked this one because it had a lunch menu that really appealed to me. And I was quite surprised when we got there just how big this one was. As Bethany's more like family, a smaller little wine tasting area, this one was big, and it actually has an area when you drive in with flags of the world, doesn't it? It looks a bit like a government house or something with all the flags, because the owners are not Australian, are they?
No, that's right. It was established by Jim and Pam Lambert, who fell in love with the region during their Australian business travels in the 1990s. Moving from Wisconsin, USA, they developed a 100-acre estate in Angaston. Kirk Lambert, the University of Adelaide trained, and his Peruvian-born wife, Vanessa, lead the winemaking, blending American, Latin American, and Australian influences.
Yeah, it was great.
Known for its handcrafted wines, stunning elevated vineyard views, and excellent on-site restaurant. If you mention Travel Hopper Special when you book for lunch, you receive a complimentary tasting experience. Of course, we ordered the garlic prawn pizza, Australian prawns marinated in garlic, dill, and lemon. Seriously impressive.
Yeah, it was. Well, that was really nice. And I've got once again, some nice photos of this place, because what you just said then, the views over the vineyards for lunch. So it's double-story building, and the restaurant's upstairs, and there is an outdoor decking area as well. And yeah, they've got it set up so beautifully. They've got the wine set up, and there was quite a big tasting in one area, and quite a few people there having lunch, but it wasn't overcrowded. It wasn't noisy. It was all very enjoyable, and the pizza was really good.
Very, very civilized.
And I really enjoyed the wines here too.
Yeah,
they were really nice wines.
I'd never heard of it previously.
But it's quite a big. Once again,
it's a big concern.
It's up sort of on the highest spot in their area, and you just get the sweeping views down over.
Yeah, and the gardens were beautiful.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, like it was really, really impressive. Yeah. So, and the pizza was spectacular.
It was spectacular. The Lambert Estate. And,
yes, don't miss that one. That's a good one.
I'll put links to all these wineries we went to, as well as the Trail Hopper, in the show notes. Then, of course, we went to. Well, we picked this one because, I don't know, we've been there before as well.
But we've been there before, and Alan had taken us there for lunch, and again, it was a bit of a memory lane.
Yeah, but I liked it because it has an old house and beautiful gardens, and it's really well known, but you can also go down into the cellar where some of the barrels are, so it sort of has a nice feel about it. And once again, it was quiet there. You think it gets busier later in the day, but when we got there, we were the first ones doing the wine tasting, so you get a bit spoiled, don't you? You're very generous.
So it was founded in 1859 by William Salter and his son Edward. Famous for early Shiraz plantings at Mambrabrook. The winery produced its first vintage in 1862, known for its rich, full-bodied reds like the iconic Saltram's No. 1 Shiraz. And that particular wine won the Jimmy Watson trophy for best wine in Australia in 1966 and 2002.
I took it outside. I said, can I take that bottle outside and get a photo? So because they've got a lovely pergola and trellis along the outside of the building with grapevines coming down over it, and I just wanted to get that picturesque photo. And she just handed me the expensive bottle, the Shiraz No. 1, and out I went with it.
Yeah, just to go back on that Jimmy Watson trophy, that's the ultimate in Australian trophies, the Jimmy Watson. So that's how good that wine was. Now, Saltram's is located in Angaston. The historic cellar door offers a classic Barossa Valley experience featuring premium rich Shiraz and Cabernet Sauvignon. The venue includes a rustic tasting room, a terrace for casual drinks, and Salter's Kitchen restaurant serving seasonal local produce. It only opens for lunch. Adjacent the cellar door is historic Mambrabrook homestead, 6-roomed stone house representing the early pioneering heritage of the Barossa Valley, built in 1844 by William Salter. Saltram's more contemporary addition include the Pepperjack wines.
Oh, yeah, Pepperjacks are well known, aren't they? But I've got lovely photos of that homestead there. It's right there.
It is. It's
basically as you drive into Saltram's Wine, that's the first thing you see. It's to your left, and then the wine area is just across the road to
and
the
the
right.
gardens around the
With the
house are
roses and
beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really,
Like
really
it's
pretty.
again well worth a visit because it's unique in its own way, especially with that Mambra Brook cottage.
Now, we've got one more winery that we went to, but it might be time to maybe mention that Barossa Valley is, as I said, known around the world, obviously for its Shiraz, but it's also home of Penfolds, which is, I think most people who don't even like wine have heard of Penfolds wine.
It's Penfolds Grange.
Yeah,
which is Grange Hermitage, which is
the most expensive wine, or one of.
Yeah. It's the most expensive wine in Australia. It's well known throughout Europe.
Yeah.
And again because of it's the old vines.
Now, it's interesting because I think Barossa being so old, because as I said, well, you said 1840s it was settled, but they brought the vines then, and Barossa has some of the, as you said, oldest vines in the world, but they've been continuous. They've never were affected with the phylloxera.
Yeah.
And so they've been continually producing wine for hundreds of years, basically, on the same vines.
Yeah, some of them are up to 175 years.
Yes, that's pretty incredible.
That phylloxera was a sap-sucking insect, basically, and basically destroyed
European wines
for a long, long time. So that's why they say that Australia has some of the oldest wines.
Yeah, crazy,
because
that
particular disease that went through the whole of Europe
never made it here.
Never got here because of the isolation. So,
but back to the Barossa and the big wineries like Penfolds. The thing that I noticed is it's now becoming a little bit like they've got the big wineries that people want to go to with the big restaurants. But it also has some more boutique little wineries and things popping up, which is quite nice. Younger people coming in, enjoying those wineries, but also making wine. So it's obviously going to have a strong future, the Barossa.
Yeah, I think everybody likes a nice glass of wine.
Yeah, that's true. We then went to one of these, well, it wasn't that small, but it was one that neither of us had heard of, but we picked it, looked at the information and talked to some people, and it was called Keisler, wasn't it?
Yeah, Keisler, and which you're right, we really didn't know much about it, but when I started doing some research onto it, is probably one of the better quality wineries.
It was really nice.
The wine was fabulous. So I'll give you a bit of a rundown there. It's a historic Barossa Valley winery established in 1893.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so that renowned for producing intense, high-quality estate-grown wines from old vine vineyards. Located in Narukna, the winery is famous for its flagship, the Bogan Shiraz, alongside various premium reds, whites and sparkling options.
Well, Lyle says Bogan. There's actually a big sign up on the wall that says "Old Bastard."
That's true. That's true. That's true. So
maybe they cleaned up the name for publication.
The estate features 92 acres of vines, some dating back to 1893, 1899, and the 1930s. Led by chief winemaker Tim Dolan, the team focuses on minimal intervention using hand-picked and hand-pruned grapes. Now that Tim Dolan, he's a well-known winemaker.
So we sat outside, once again, a lovely outdoor area, and it was very pleasant temperature and beautiful little shade above us, and it was just a really nice experience. There was lots of trees around and it was very private, but still very open. And it was just a lovely area. And once again, the gardens were really nice.
They were very nice, and we were joined at that particular winery by the winery dog, and her name was Lucy.
A lot of wineries have their dogs.
They do have the dogs, and they just sort of wander around. And
there was another couple there that were from Adelaide, and they bring their caravan out and set up in one of the nicer parks. And they say they go to Keisler every time because it's just got the best wine. They don't even try out new ones. They just love it there. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I know, and that I think it's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
So what we were talking about before, I've actually got a heading here. Why does Barossa have such great wines?
Yeah.
Now we've talked about why how Australia never had the phylloxera, but what happens with the old vines. Why are old vines so much better? Barossa Shiraz is renowned for its bold, full-bodied, and consistent quality, driven by 175 plus years of tradition, ancient and low-yielding vines. The Mediterranean climate and allows for a maximum ripening, resulting in deep, intense flavours of chocolate, plum, spice, supported by velvety tannins.
Well, what I've found too was Barossa has classifications of old vines. So to be classified an old vine, it has to be 35 years plus. So we're well over the old vine, aren't we, Don? The survivor wines are 70 years plus. So there you go, you're a survivor. And then the centenarian vines are obviously 100 years plus. And then they've got the ancestor wines. What a nice name. The ancestor wines, which are 125 years plus. So that's just in the Barossa area, those vine classifications, which I thought was pretty cool. Now, did you want to add something else there about the wine?
I do. So
Okay.
many Barossa wines are planted on their own roots, not grafted, which prevents the weakness of the graft union and allows them to thrive. Over decades, roots penetrate deep into the soil to access moisture, providing resilience during droughts and ensuring consistent quality fruit. As vines age, they produce fewer smaller grapes, which results in a high concentration of flavour and intensity in the wine. Many old wines are dry grown, forcing them to survive on natural rainfall, which further concentrates the flavours.
Now, we've heard of that before, haven't we? Like that having to, there's no irrigation.
Yeah, that was in Tuscany. So what that does is, because they've got to go deeper into the soil, it means that there's more mineral content, and of course it just enhances the flavour. So that's why old vines can, not always, but can produce more flavoursome wine.
Okay. Well, we were there in November, which is summer. Barossa changes so much over the year when you visit. So probably one of the best times to visit, it would be in autumn, because that's when the vines have got their vibrant colours and it's when harvest is happening. And they also have like a vintage festival there. So
right.
autumn is a fabulous time. So that's sort of March to May, sort of especially the March to April time. It's when the vines have got all their colour. Spring is obviously beautiful because the weather's coming back to being nice and warm, and the vines are all, starting to get their leaves and that sort of, and the flowers all around the, spring gardens are just stunning. Summers is hot, can be very hot.
Summer's really hot.
But it's also busy because that's when people are on holidays, and it's also when they do a lot of long lunches. So if you're going to go in summer and you want to go to one of the famous places for lunch, it's always recommended to book that. And winter can be cold and wet, but it's also nice because it's a red wine region to cozy up around a fire and enjoy some red wine. So most times of the year, you're going to find something a bit unique in the Barossa Valley, hey?
Yeah. Okay. Well, talking about restaurants, the restaurants offer a mix of high-end, locally sourced degustation and relaxed Mediterranean-inspired dining. Top recommendations include Hentley Farm.
Yep.
It's refined 1880s farmhouse. The Ferment Southeast Asian food. El Estanco, South American inspired. And the Farm Eatery, scenic shared plates. And the Casa Carboni, which is Italian. So I'll just go through that again.
That Farm Eatery is actually Margie Beer's farm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Hentley Farm, that's basically high-end dining. The Ferment Asian, Southeast Asian. The El Estanco, South American. And the Farm Eatery is shared plates. And the Casa Carboni, which is Italian, obviously. Now, things to do in the Barossa Valley apart from winery. There's Barossa Valley. There's a 10-minute scenic helicopter flight experience.
Okay. Let's do that.
A private helicopter flight from Lindop over the Barossa Valley includes a visit to the Keys family wine to taste wines and enjoy a 2-course lunch. And there's the Barossa Valley hot air balloon flights, Barossa food and wine trail in a classic 1966 Mustang.
Okay, that sounds good.
Now, accommodation,
Yeah.
there's lots of accommodation, obviously.
Well, you can stay in Adelaide, as we did, and
we did, which is only an hour's drive.
Get the hopper out, but if you want to have that whole experience and stay out there, we had some friends do that, and they stayed in this most amazing place. They said it was just wonderful. It was near Tanunda. They just walked in every night, somewhere different for dinner. So so give us the rundown.
Okay, so high-end options, providing private villas and gourmet experiences, the Louise, or the Lamas Barossa, vineyard and farm cottages, restored 19th century cottages and renovated farmhouses located directly on vineyards, Seppel's Fields Vineyard Cottage. Or there's fully serviced options like Novotel Barossa Valley Resort, which offers pool, spa and views.
Oh, hello.
And then you've also got B&B guest houses, intimate hosted stays in historical local homes such as the Orchard House.
Okay, that sounds great. Now, all these places we've talked about, including the wineries and the restaurants and the accommodation, etc., I'm going to put them all on an interactive map on the website. So, as I said, Beach Travel Wine and episode 145. And I've got photos of all the places we went on our trail hopper day out, the wineries that we talked about. So lots of beautiful views and gardens, which is just what I love. And the good wine's a real bonus, don't you think?
Yeah. Oh, look, it's the quintessential wine holiday, Barossa, and because it's been around for so long, so you've got that. The hint of history. Also, the landscape is absolutely beautiful. Typical Australian landscape. So if you're coming from overseas, highly recommend you try it.
You've got the great big gum trees on the rolling hills and with the vineyards on them as well. It's not sort of the lush green of some places, but it's just got a really beautiful feel about it. And every vineyard, every restaurant, the gardens are just stunning. Just full of any time really of the year except winter, you'll get some beautiful gardens. So
and the architecture just has that hint of Europe. So it's a great package.
We love it. Now, your favourite place to have a wine in Barossa?
I'd have to say probably because I thought it was probably the best wine of the day was Kaisler, and I got to pat Lucy.
Yeah, she's just such a dog lover. Well, my favourite, I think Bethany, just because we brought back memories of your friend, and it was the first of the day, and it's beautiful up there.
Yeah, the views are excellent.
Yeah, from there I did enjoy it. So we've got another wine region coming up in our next podcast, haven't we? So
yes.
But once again in South Australia. So I'm looking forward to that.
It's McLaren Vale.
Yeah.
And the thing that's different about McLaren Vale is
he's had no wine yet.
Yeah, I haven't. Is that it's very, very close to the coastline.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a much more coastline influence in relation to the taste.
The terroir.
The terroir, yeah, that's it, the terroir.
Well, I was going to say hasta luego, but it's not really appropriate, is it?
So, no, it's not. So
Australia.
See you later.
Yeah, thank you.
Alligator. Or crocodile, should I say.